Good afternoon, YouTube pipe smokers. Prairie Piper here. Happy March. Thank God we've gotten rid of February. Like I said, February was tough here for us, but we're on the home stretch now, heading towards spring. It's above zero today. I got the door open, so it gives me a little bit more light, so that's nice. Today's video is going to be a review on Germain's special Latakia Flake. And a little bit of history and perspective on what makes a unicorn blend. What is a unicorn blend? How does a tobacco become a unicorn blend? So we'll kind of explore briefly just some of the history there behind these unicorn blends. And then I'm going to do a review on special Latakia. We'll see if it truly is a unicorn blend, if it truly is special as Germain says it is. So stay tuned. And we'll get into the review after. So what is a unicorn blend? This is just my perspective, obviously. A unicorn blend to me is a blend that is no longer available, or it's very difficult to get. So McClellan's no longer available. Esoterica, Germain's, those are the two big ones. There are others. They are still being produced, but they're very, very difficult to get. I also would put small batches. And, you know, this is something, a phenomenal, it's just a phenomena that's just kind of recently over the last, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, seems to be getting worse, where a small batch comes out and it's gone in 2 to 3 hours. So, you know, the small batches are close to kind of being unobtainable at times. Depends on the small batch release, but most of them seem to be going the way that they're released and they're gone the same day, the same night they're gone. So those are kind of my credentials for unicorn blend. No longer available like McClellan's, very difficult to get like Esoteric and Germain's, or small batch releases like that C&D does, and even that Sutliff did. I would also add on top of that Syrian Latakia, right? If something's got Syrian Latakia in it, people get excited and orgasmic about it and think it's worth, you know, $1,000 a tin, you know, but I'm not going to break down every leaf that's no longer, you know, no longer around in blends, but that Syrian one, I mentioned it because it's a big one. So a little bit of history and perspective around the unicorn blends. As I'm sure you've probably seen other videos, I've been smoking a pipe for 25 years. 10 to 15 years ago, let's go back 2009, 2010. Generally speaking, I mean, I can't speak in your area, but in my neck of the woods, Germain's, McClellan's, especially McClellan's, and Esoterica were usually available. I mean, they weren't stuff that was flying off the shelf. McClellan's didn't even start flying off the shelf even until they actually went out of business. Or not, sorry, they didn't go out of business until they retired and shut the business down. Right? People were buying more and more of it. I think it was 2017, but it was still readily available. There was brick and mortar stores all across Canada that were still selling McClellan's, you know, a year after they had stopped producing it. Just to give you an idea of, like, it's like a, you know, people want, you know, gold bars from McClellan's now. Well, it wasn't like that when McClellan's was around, nor was it like that when, you know, Germain's was sitting on the shelf, or Esoterica, at least in my neck of the woods. They were always great tobaccos. They were always highly spoken about as good quality tobacco, something to try, but they weren't, you know, significantly different than Dunhill, right? Dunhill was very well respected. You know, Samuel Galleth has always been very well respected. So just, you know, just to remember and try to put things into perspective, right? When things become unattainable, everybody wants them. It doesn't mean that they're any good, but people have the desire to have things that are no longer available. Especially in the pipe community, I don't know why that is. People in the pipe community are obsessed, it seems like, with getting things that are no longer produced. And I'm going to get into that. So we have a real life present day example of how something goes, or I believe something's going to go from readily available to mythical status. Okay? And it's MacBaron and Sutliff as an example. Example number one, okay? I have two examples. MacBaron, you know, MacBaron's always been very popular, but I wouldn't say if you ask people like, hey, what are your kind of like your top, some of your top blenders, your top manufacturers for tobacco? I'm not sure. I guarantee you probably wouldn't get Sutliff. First of all, you're not going to get Sutliff mentioned. MacBaron might not be in the top two either. In fact, most people would probably put like Samuel Gawith, Kohlhaas and Kopp when they were, I guess, just Kopp now, but you know, back when the two brothers were still, or whomever it was, the two partners were still making that tobacco together last year. Peterson, right? STG, the Dunhills. You would have had a lot of other blends, I think. I think it's hopefully safe for me to say that. I think you would have had a lot of other blends that were mentioned before MacBaron or either Sutliff. That I can guarantee for sure. So when it was announced that MacBaron and Sutliff were going away, every year I used to buy the Kringle Flake. Really like the Kringle Flake that Sutliff put out. I would buy 5 or 6 tins every Christmas. And it was usually available for several weeks because, you know, again, Sutliff was not really considered one of the top tier, you know, tobaccos. And to be honest with you, Sutliff got a lot of flack on forums, at least the two forums that I'm not going to mention them, but got a lot of flack. Sutliff used to get a lot of flack from people in the pipe community until, of course, it went away or it was going away. So Kringle Flake flew off the shelf in December, which really pissed me off because not only did I not get a tin, but I knew that the people that were buying that were not interested in actually having it to taste, to smoke. They only wanted it because it was gone. It was going to be gone. It was the last Kringle Flake. So sure, there might have been guys like me that stocked up, and fair enough. But I'm pretty sure there's probably a lot of other people that bought that Kringle Flake in December just to barter with. Now, don't get me started on buying tobacco that you don't intend to smoke. That's a whole nother video. But that really chaps my ass, that kind of stuff. Anyways. So that stuff is who knows what people are going to be asking for Kringle Flake in the future, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. Okay. But you saw even getting into winter, mid to late winter, right, in the last few weeks here, you know, the MacBaron stuff flying off the shelf, especially the HH series stuff, right? HH series was always highly rated. I think it was, you know, highly rated tobacco for MacBaron amongst like, you know, pipe smokers that liked unadulterated tobacco, right? I mean, it was almost a pure form of tobacco in the sense that the topping, right? Very, very, very minimal. You know, a lot of people praise the HH series, but it was always available, right? It was always available. It wasn't like, you know, people, you know, you could go in, buy 10, 20, 30 tins and, you know, the next day you could go buy another 10, 20, 30 tins. Like it was always available. I suspect in the near future, you're going to see people asking an arm and a leg for these Kringle Flakes and the HH series, Bold Kentucky, Old Dark Fired, the Balkan, the Latakia, the Burley, the, what is it? Where's my tin? What's it called? The Virginia, HH Virginia. Sorry, I was looking at the tin on the wall here. Those are probably going to enter, this is my guess, I might be wrong, but my guess is the HH series by MacBaron enters mythical status over the next 2, 3, 4 years. If it doesn't enter that, I guarantee you people are going to start asking a lot more money for them when they're asking for money, or they're going to want more in trades for them down the road. And this is how a unicorn is born. But remember, for those of you that are younger, newer pipe smokers, remember, 6 to 8 months ago, HH Burley, HH Latakia, HH Virginia, Old Dark Fired Kentucky, were just regular tobaccos. They had a lot of people enjoyed them. They were not unobtainable. They were always on the shelf. They were always available. Kringle Flake was readily available, even though it was a a limited release. It was still available for several weeks after it was released. This year they disappeared. So that's how unicorns are born. It doesn't mean because everybody wanted the HH series from Mac Baren, or everybody wanted the Kringle Flake from Sutliff, that they were the greatest tobaccos that had ever been around, right? Like the second generation of like Germains and Esoterica. No. It's just demand and people losing people having hysteria or it's no longer available. There's a difference between something genuinely being really, really good and something that reaches heights just because of the hysteria. They're different. Some of these tobaccos are really good and really unique, and others are just it's the hype. So is the special Latakia Flake like that? We're going to find out. But the other example that I wanted to give of how finicky the pipe community can be, right? So we had Mac Baren and Sutliff. They were just your average Joe tobaccos, and like I said, even Sutliff took a lot of heat on, in forums for not being that good. All of a sudden, people think it's right, but because it's no longer available, people are sad, and well, maybe maybe you should have bought more Sutliff then, if you're sad that an American iconic company is gone. I supported Sutliff. Anyways, not what this is about. But the other thing is, just talking about supply and demand and how unicorns are born. The other example is HU tobacco, right? HU tobacco is now available in smoking pipes. That's the only place I've ever looked. I'm sure it's available throughout the US now, but everybody, wanted HU tobaccos. I traded HU tobacco over the last few years to, some of my American friends. I never ask for more. I'm not that kind of guy. I just want to break even. I'm not trying to make a profit. I'm not trying to ask for 2 tins for one. That's not me. And, so I traded them away because I had access to getting some, and they didn't. I gave it to for people to try, and I just traded 1 for 1. But a lot of people wanted the HU tobaccos. Well, fast forward 6 months, we got them now. They don't sell out that much. Like outside the first drop from smoking pipes, I went there right now. Everything is full. The whole line is full. They got everything. Right? So now that people can get it, not everybody is stockpiling it. Right? It's all of a sudden HU tobacco is not this, these magical unicorns that it's very difficult, for North Americans to get. Readily available, always in stock now. Anyways, let's put our money where our mouth is and see how these unicorn blends or one of them, how they smoke. Okay? So I've been smoking this for about half an hour now. It's good. I already opened up the tin, but we will do a tin note. This is about 1.5 years on it. You can see from July 2023. Let me put this pipe down. We'll do a tin note. It is fairly moist, so if you're going to smoke this, you definitely want to crack it ahead of time, which is I did. It's a little stiff here. Oh, geez, okay. So you're going to want to give it some drying time. It was fairly moist when I first opened it up. I haven't smoked this for a long time, so this is, like a long time, like maybe a decade. I actually can't pull the flakes out. They're fairly moist. They're kind of all sort of welded together. And it's more of kind of like a broken flake. They are in strips, but they're really tiny strips. You know, it's not like a strip like an HH series. Um, there you go. They're really tiny strips. And they're just going to pull out in strings. Hopefully you can get a decent shot of that. Well, there you go. That's how they are. So, what does it smell like? So, here's the tin note. It's earthy, it's sweet, it's smoky, it's wet. There's kind of like, it's hard to describe. When you open up different blends of pipe manufacturers, right? Like Germain's has its own scent, right? Samuel Gauth has its own scent. C&D, Cop, HU Tobaccos. They kind of like each manufacturer sort of has their own sort of. I'm not saying it's a topping or a casing. Some of it might be casings, but they've just got their own scent. Like you know, this is Germain's. Like it's not C&D. Yeah, smoky, rich, sugary, wet. It's moist, earthy, heavy, more smoky and kind of sweet. A little bit of the Oriental in there, a little touch of kind of pulpery. That's that sort of Eastern spice. Okay. It is a Latakia, Virginia, and Oriental. Let's check it out. So, like I said, I have been smoking this for about the past half hour, 40 minutes. Let's light it up again here. I'm getting close to the halfway point of the bowl. It's not it's not overly smoky. Like I don't think, sorry, I'm looking at the birds out here. I don't think it has a lot of Latakia in it to me. I would say it's got more Oriental in it than it does Latakia. The Latakia is there, trust me, you can taste it, but to me it's Latakia light if I had to. And when you're breaking it up just to dry it out a little bit, because it does need some drying time, I give it about 15, 20 minutes. Um, you don't see a lot of Latakia laying around after you've broken it up a bit, rubbed it out a little bit. So it's to me it's Latakia light. You can taste the bright Virginias. To me they're brights, they're not reds. I don't get bready in here. I get like lemon, citrus, hay notes. It's probably from bright Virginia. And I do get the Oriental. And at times throughout the bowl, if you told me this had like a pinch of Perique in it, I probably believe you. Because there is a sweetness in here. But if we believe just the components, and there could be the dash of Perique in here because they never tell you all the components they put in. But let's just go with what they've said, right? They've just, you know, the tin basically says Virginia, Latakia, Oriental. The Oriental mixed in with the Virginia, the bright Virginia, is I think where I'm getting the sweetness. A lot of the times from an Oriental, I get like that spicy Eastern kind of incense. This in here, it's more of a toned down, more of a kind of I don't know if passive is the right word. It's toned down and it's more of a sweetness. Another feeling you get that comes to mind when I smoke this, balance. This is a very, very, very well balanced tobacco. I can taste all of the components. I have to think to pick them out in a good way. Um, they're all mixed in together, you know, but they're balanced masterfully. Like they're really, really balanced fantastically. It's not a, forget the Nick stuff. I don't do the Nick. Nicotine doesn't affect me, so I can't really do the Nick stuff. But in terms of the taste of the smoke, it's not a heavy smoke. I'll say it's a rich smoke, not rich and thick. The smoke is kind of like light and airy, and I don't mean that in a bad sense. You can tell you're smoking quality tobacco. Definitely tell that this is high quality tobacco. I usually break my Latakias up into a dry Latakia, like a dry woodsy Latakia, and then like a heavy oily um, tar-like, you know, asphalt wet Latakia, you know, like Old Ironsides or Gaslight. This is neither one of those. At times it almost has like a plummy quality to it. And again, I'm just guessing that's maybe just a play in the way that it's been blended and mixed between the Virginias and the Orientals. Because these Orientals to me are kind of like more plummy and sweet and stewy than they are more like spicy and aromatic sense. Which is why I said if you told me there's Perique in here, I'd probably believe you. It is masterfully blended. It just blended. There's 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 probably not a lot of tobaccos that I can think of that are blended to this degree. I don't know how they blended it. It's just all the flavors have just melted in together to make one distinct blend. Okay, let me smoke this a little bit more and we'll wrap this up. Hold on. Okay, we'll wrap this up. Germain's Special Latakia Unicorn. Is it good? Yes. Is it worth, 25, 30 bucks that, or 25 or 26 pounds, I guess? Sure it is. Is it worth, giving some guy your shirt and your shoes off of tin bids? No, no. Like, if you can find it, I'd say pick some up at a reasonable price, or trade for it at a reasonable price. I don't think you need to lose your shirt over it. I don't think you need to, cash in your retirement to go out and get this stuff. There's lots of great blends out, so there's my review. If you can find it, get some. It's worth trying out. And obviously there's a lot of other reviews, about the unicorn blends, and most of the viewers that have done the unicorn blends, they all tell you the same thing. Yeah, like if you can find it, pick it up and try it. But don't bend over backwards trying to get it, right? Don't spend an entire paycheck trying to, pick up 5 or 6 tins of this stuff. There's so many great tobaccos out right now. A lot of really great tobacco out that look like Mac Baren and some Sutliff stuff may not be around in the next 4 or 5 years. So stock up and buy what you like now. Don't worry about the rat race about trying to find all these unicorn blends that are impossible to get. Anyways, I could go on, but there isn't a reason to. So hope you enjoyed that. Take care. Enjoy the remainder of the Sunday weekend, and talk to you guys later. Prairie Piper out.